Aston Villa are one Premier League club who may not benefit from the new squad cost ratio (SCR) rules which will be introduced. That is according to ex-Aberdeen and Everton and Aston Villa chief executive Keith Wyness, speaking exclusively to Football Insider, who has explained who might be impacted by the new regulations. At a meeting of all 20 Premier League members, clubs voted against introducing new top-to-bottom anchoring regulations. Man United and Man City were both against the introduction of a salary cap, with clubs voting to bring in SCR rules, currently used by UEFA, instead. Aston Villa could struggle amid new SCR rules. Everton's former chief Keith Wyness, who served as CEO at Goodison Park between 2004 and 2009 and now runs a football consultancy advising elite clubs, states that there are similarities between SCR and the Profit and Sustainability Rules, PSR, currently being used in the Premier League. Speaking on the new edition of Football Insider's Inside Track podcast, Wyness believes SCR will keep the top six ahead in the Premier League. He told Football Insider's Inside Track podcast, "Well, you see, this is another strange thing. Anchoring to me was fairer to the middle clubs and the smaller clubs and the ones coming up. SCR basically keeps the top clubs still ahead because you've got that big European chunk of revenue coming in, and that means that your 85% of your revenue is a big number, whereas anchoring really wouldn't have made such a difference if you had the big European money coming in because you'd have been stuck to a certain ratio. So I think the lowers on this one with SCR means it's more like PSR was, it's like having a drawbridge around the big clubs again. So that's something I'm not really that in favor of. Although it's a little bit easier. We've seen clubs like Villa, etc. struggle to meet the UEFA requirements, and Chelsea even though one of the bigger ones. But certainly I think the medium-sized to smaller clubs will find it very hard to try and get within striking distance of that 85% of the revenue side. Aston Villa have been at risk of breaking PSR rules, which has had implications on their activity in the transfer market. The club have previously had to sell their women's team to abide by PSR rules, and qualifying for European competition is also a factor in how much revenue they make. Aston Villa smashed their club revenue last season, which surpassed the £350 million mark, with Champions League football a factor in that milestone. The club are not in the Champions League this season, instead competing in the Europa League.